Everybody like, hey, are you ready to go? Ready to go? Everybody like,
Hey yo, what's good though? Soul here, and welcome back to my story mode. So, just in case there are a couple of you that don't know who I am, hello, what's up? My name is Soul. As of right now, I love to do these podcast-style discussions where we talk about any and all types of gaming. As of right now, it is very clearly like Nintendo and Sonic and stuff, but I have a lot more things to talk about. Maybe a little bit of anime too, you know? And if that's something that you're very interested in, you know, go ahead, drop a like and a comment, and, you know, maybe subscribe for more content just like it. And I hope you guys realize that I am not opposed to really long, like heavy edits and, you know, retrospectives and reviews and stuff like that on new games that are coming out, because I like to play anything and everything under the sun, and, you know, that goes for watching and stuff like that. So just a little, you know, get to know me moment there. But obviously that's not what you're here for, if you're here at all. What you're actually here to talk about is exactly what's titled and thumbnailed. We need to talk about if Tears of the Kingdom truly does deserve that $70 pricing. Now, as I'm sure a lot of you are aware, we did recently have a Nintendo Direct giving us a lot of cool stuff, a lot of shadow drops, and a lot of cool information, and a brand new trailer regarding Tears of the Kingdom that's going to be coming out later this year. I believe May something. It is May, correct? I have to look more into it. I don't know the exact date as of right now, but it's coming out around May this year, you know? So, you know, obviously a lot of us, especially the hardcore Zelda fans, have been waiting a long time for this, alright? A lot of people got into the Zelda series through Breath of the Wild, meaning that a lot of us have been waiting for this sequel for 6 whole years now. As of March, what is it? I believe 17th, it'll be the 6-year anniversary of Breath of the Wild, and we're coming up on that real soon. So, you know, a lot of us have been waiting a very long time for this sequel, because Breath of the Wild is simply one of the best Zelda games and one of the best games in general. There's really not a lot of competition, alright? Unfortunately, it's set a standard for open world games now, so much so that any open world game that is an open world game is either like Breath of the Wild or not good enough. It's truly a tragic time. We'll have to talk about that later. I have a whole discussion regarding that. So, either way, you get the idea. Breath of the Wild 2, Tears of the Kingdom, has been long awaited, right? So we need to talk about this, right? It's very alarming what this is to me personally, at least. Maybe you don't agree, but me personally, I find this very particular topic very alarming for a couple of reasons, right? For one thing, this is one of those decisions from Nintendo that irks the hell out of me, because, you know, it's one of the reasons why I made my video. Again, I made this video before the Nintendo Direct came out. I edited it afterwards, but before the Nintendo Direct even came out, confirming like anything and everything, one of my things that I was talking about was that the Nintendo Switch needs to, you know, simmer down in terms of, you know, cruciality when it comes to like mainline releases and things like that. The Switch has had a phenomenal run, and I do believe that it still has a lot of potential for time to come, but, you know, there's a lot of problems with the Switch on its own that I feel like we should probably start gearing up for the next big thing. The next big, like, true home console from Nintendo that can provide, you know, more for us. You know what I mean? You know, not to go in depth about that video, but, you know, I did talk a lot about, like, how they didn't introduce themes, how the eShop is still a mess. You know, how it's just holding back a lot of games this day and age because of its nature. You know, it's a convenient nature, but it's convenient in some ways and inconvenient in other ways, which is why I'm just kind of like, you know, we need more when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, or we just need more in general that the Switch just cannot provide. You know what I mean? So the videos over there, you could check that out, and I felt like uploading it because I felt like a lot of that still applies, which is why we're having this particular discussion today, right? And so now we have Tears of the Kingdom, a long-awaited sequel to one of the best games in Zelda history, in Nintendo history, without a doubt. Like, there's really no competition. It's so obvious, right? There's no arguing or debating that, okay? And, you know, I will acknowledge, because this game is heavily anticipated and it does deserve a lot of good success. I'm sure it will do phenomenal, and I have a lot of hope for it. I think it's going to be a good game in general, right? But I can't help having a couple of gripes when it comes to this game in particular, right? So, for starters, right? Obviously, because it's a direct sequel to Breath of the Wild, that's allowed for it to use, just generally speaking, a lot of assets for the creation of this game, right? To really explain that, as a I'm not really a game developer, so it's kind of hard to explain that, but essentially, they're utilizing what they already built, all right? They have the engine ready to go. They built it specifically for Breath of the Wild, and they had that engine ready to go. They already made the map layouts. They already have all of the world of Breath of the Wild created, right? They have, a lot of the same enemy types, a lot of the same item types, a lot of the same weapon types, the movement for Link and stuff like that, maybe with a couple of touch-ups here because, again, it's been 6 years. It has to look a little better. But generally speaking, a lot of that stuff is essentially, for lack of a better way to put this, and I'm not trying to downplay it, but copied and pasted, right? There's a lot of new elements, and I'm not going to ignore that. When it comes to new enemy types in the world, just new general things with the world above and stuff like that. That's totally fine. That's cool and dandy. I'm looking forward to everything that game has to offer, right? But essentially, what they did was they took the base of Breath of the Wild and kind of built upon that. The first 6 years, or the first couple of years that they were building Breath of the Wild was probably, that's the hardest, because they had to build the engine, they had to build, a lot of the building blocks themselves, right? Now, it's just making a couple of more building blocks on the side and then importing them in a way that works for this next game because the base was already there. You know what I'm saying? So, again, that's cool and that's awesome, but, it's almost like all they did was they essentially made the cake a long time ago, right? The cake was just sitting there and it was looking good, great, ready to go. They put it in this just super hyperbolic time chamber-esque freezer to keep that sucker under wraps. Great, cool, awesome. They go in after years and finally take that cake out and then they decorate it. That's I know that's a very simplistic analogy, but that's essentially what it feels like to, have a sequel that utilizes basically the exact same engine and assets as the previous title beforehand, right? And until further notice, that's what we have to base things on, right? We don't have the game yet. All we know is that there's a new story, and different voices and maybe a couple more enemy types and a new addition to the map. That's all we know. That's all we know at the end of the day. Again, it's very simplified, and I hate to put it that way, but it's the truth. All right. And then the second thing is, again, why I made the Nintendo Switch Needs to Die video is because we're still working on the exact same hardware as the game that came right before that, Breath of the Wild, which was 6 years ago now, right? Which means that it can only do, pushing it to its limit, pushing the Switch to its limit, it can do what Breath of the Wild did. Breath of the Wild, absolutely pushing the Switch to its limits. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that. Graphically, mechanically, and just size-wise, it was pushing, right? And Tears of the Kingdom, right now I can only visualize just that, but a little more, just a little more of a nudge than what Breath of the Wild did when it comes to terms of capability, right? So it's still not hitting 1080p. It's still not going to be 60 frames. There's going to be a lot of new mechanics, but for the most part, We're still moving exactly the same as we did before, right? And we're on the exact same hardware that can only do so much, right? So, here's my problem. Why does Tears of the Kingdom deserve $70 if we're not getting a genuinely guaranteed stronger game? Because I think that the move they pulled here is very, very bold. Okay. Now, obviously, as a PlayStation fan, with the PS5, they announced that, there's going to be a lot of like first-party games and very a lot of like AAA titles that are going to cost $70 going forward. And okay, I get that, right? I understand. I wasn't like thrilled about it. Obviously, why would I be having to spend more money? But at the same time, I get it. It's a lot of work, and it's the strongest, one of the strongest pieces of hardware to develop for when it comes to they can push limits. They can do more than the baseline when it comes to the PlayStation 5. They had good reason, all right, because the games that they were pushing out, even if they weren't the best games we've ever played, you have to admit those games are doing crazy in terms of how generally strong those are and how much content is available within them, just because of how much the PlayStation 5 is able to handle as a console, right? So, I get that. I understand that, right? But then we move back to Nintendo, who decided that the sequel that we're finally getting 6 years later, that uses the exact same assets and is on the exact same hardware, is now $70, right? And it upsets me because it's very hard for me to see this other than just, for lack of a better term, taking advantage, right? Because they told us, right? They said in an interview, or whoever they responded to, I'm pretty sure it was an interview. I have to find the link to it. I'll get that to you. But they said that the base price of games are decided on a case-to-case basis, right? So every time they look at a AAA title that they're going to be releasing, whether it be a brand new like mainline Mario game, a brand new mainline Zelda game, a brand new mainline Smash, Kirby, whatever, Metroid, they go on a case-to-case basis, right? And thus far, it's always been $60. It's always been $60, right? So, it's kind of hard to believe why that would change, right? So, unfortunately, when they say they decide on a case-to-case basis, in this case, I find it very bold, specifically because of what we're getting it on, right? So, to me, as a consumer, all it sounds like is, we made you wait for a long time for this game, and this is the only way to get it legally. So either pay up, or we'll send the Nintendo ninjas after you, because there's no way in hell, you're getting this any other way. And it's a little frustrating, I have to admit, because they kind of got us by the balls here. Because it's true. They know exactly what we want. They know we'll shell out that extra $10. Why? Because we love our Zelda. We want this game. And they're the only ones that can do it. They're the only ones that have this power, the capabilities to make it and give it to us. And there's nothing else you could say about that. Because it's them. They made it, they own it, they can do what they want. And so charging $70, very bold and can be very aggravating, but there's nothing we could do because we all know damn well we're all picking that sucker up day one. Hell, look at all the scalpers. They already got the collector's editions ready to go, lined up for $400 to $500 each. And somebody's shelling out that big buck to get those. So, I'm just saying, man, it's hard to not see this as as just pure advantage taken. But at the end of the day, I am simply a petty person. I have to admit that, right? Because it's just, there's a lot of other things that they've done that have just like, that didn't just always sit well with me. You know what I mean? And, you know, that's okay, you know? No company's perfect, far from it, as a matter of fact, because, you know, at the end of the day, they are a business, and they want to get the best profits possible in any case scenario. So, you know, that's really what it boils down to. So I'm just a petty person. You don't, you know, have to take my word for it. You know, if you are okay with what's happening here, that's fine. You know, more power to you. I'm just personally, like, not a huge fan of that. But unfortunately, I am a huge fan of Zelda. So, yeah. Tears of the Kingdom is a day one cop for me. So, you know, no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it is something that irks me. I brought this up because I wanted to hear what your guys' thoughts on this. What do you guys think about the $70 scenario here? Do you think that it was a good idea? Do you think that this was a game deserving of the $70 price tag solely based on what we've received and what we know about it alone? Or are you more along my side where you don't see the purpose in raising the price for a game that is not, you know, on newer hardware or anything like that? Tell me everything you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and skedaddle on out of here. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!